And Anais Nin, actually, she was a poetess, and she's not with us anymore, but she made an incredible statement that really points about this whole thing about a mindset or a mind. She said, we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. It's the lenses we're looking through. I see a lot of heads nodding. You know that one, right? You know that one. Yeah. And even Abraham Lincoln, our one uncontested great president by everyone's reckoning of any shade of this political spectrum, made an incredible statement about happiness. And he said, most people are about as happy as they have a mind to be. And it's all that little phrase, isn't it? Mind to be. What is that mind to be happy? Because those are the happy people out there. No question about it. So again, how do we see the unseeable? How do we see through these illusions? Instead of letting the illusions live us, when do we get a life? Not the illusions get a life or our mind get a life, but we get a life. I mean, we have this life, right? It's been bequeathed to us. This is our gift. This is it. We're at the party of life. This is it. What's happened? Something strange has gone on. We've gotten hijacked, shanghaied. Something's happened. What is it? So there's a wonderful poem I'd like to share with you, written by an incredibly astute 17-and-a-half-year-old, if you can imagine this, who saw through a number of illusions as a young girl, relatively. And some people call this poem Comes the Dawn. Others seem to have another title for it called After a While, but it really doesn't matter what the title is. Consider this poem, written by a 17-and-a-half-year-old. After a while, you learn the subtle difference between holding a hand and chaining a soul. And you learn that love doesn't mean contracts, and presents aren't promises. And you begin to accept your defeats with the grace of a woman and not the grief of a child. And you learn to build all your roads on today because tomorrow's ground is too uncertain for plans, and futures have a way of falling down in mid-flight. After a while, you learn that even sunshine burns if you get too much. So you plant your own garden and decorate your own soul instead of waiting for someone to bring you flowers. And you learn that you really can endure, that you really are strong, that you really do have worth, and you learn and learn. And with every goodbye, you learn. She saw through some illusions, didn't she? Just as Joni did. How did they do it? Must be some trick to this. What's going on? Have you gotten any clues what's on this board yet? Okay, that's good. Keep looking at it. That's good. Just checking in and make sure you're paying attention. Because I keep seeding. Everything I'm doing here is kind of relating back to this. So I'm just kind of helping you out as best I can here. Okay. So, here's a great example of seeing the unseeable that, of course, we don't see until somebody literally points it out to us, because we couldn't see it within our own frame of reference, could we? Couldn't see it within our context, our lenses, our mindsets. It was blocked to us. It was unseeable. So you wake up, you had planned this actually. You wake up on a Saturday, beautiful Saturday morning, probably right here in Pleasanton, and you cleared the car, it's already on the street, and you're going to tackle the garage, which you've been stuffing things into, I dare say, for years, if not decades. And it is crammed to the rafters. In fact, you're bemoaning the fact as you open the garage and your neighbor's nearby, and you say, I can't get one more thing here in this garage, and I've just got to empty it all out. There's no space here at all. And you're kind of creating your own little tizzy fit over it. People are real good at doing that. You don't need a lot of help. And your neighbor looks at you startled and says, well, what do you mean? You got all sorts of space here. And now you're thinking your neighbor's deranged, if not even worse, and what are you going to do about them? And should I continue to live here, be next to the door to this person, right? And you say, well, how can you say that? I mean, it's filled. You can see that. There's not room for one more thing. There's absolutely no space here. And the neighbor, with a little bit of a sly grin on his face, says, let me show you. So he very carefully starts taking everything out of the garage, which you wanted to do anyways. You're happy for the help, provide a little water, lemonade, what have you. And you make little piles, I'm going to give this away, I'm going to donate this, we're going to put this back in, and you sort things out a little bit. We've all had that experience, I imagine. And then several hours go by, of course. Maybe half the day, I don't know. And now the neighbor's taken, with your help, of course, everything out of the garage, right? And your neighbor says, there, you got lots of space. And you say, well, that was easy enough to do. You just took everything out of the garage. I mean, and your neighbor says to you, again with a bit of a sly grin on his face, he says, I guess you don't get it. The space was always there. The content, the junk, the stuff just hid what was always there that you couldn't see. Isn't that a beautiful little example? I love that example. But you can't see the space if it's filled with junk. You can't see or experience awareness itself if you're mesmerized, hypnotized, entranced, attached, caught up with the contents of awareness, which the mind loves that. Oh my God. The mind just eats that up like accountants eat up data. Just likes another day. Love it.